Hello and welcome back to Oak and Acre. My name is Caroline, and welcome if you're new, but also welcome back if you're not. So, just to give you a little bit of a catch up, we haven't been posting in a little while because we've been busy. We've moved. The house we were renting, we have now moved. We've got some ideas that we might be actually going back to the house for use of land. Maybe put a pin in that, but depends on their system. Anyway, it should be sold. But we moved to our new house here just 10 minutes up the road. Again, we're still renting. It's not a farm, but we do have a quarter acre, which we are excited to start putting some vegetable beds and everything into. And also where we are starting our business as Oak and Acre. So we have been really looking at how the system is currently for food, especially here in the UK. When we first moved here, we were really excited because there was a lot of farm shops and there's a lot of like on every corner there's a farm shop, and so many farms have their own farm purchasing places, farm shops essentially. But like a farm shop would be kind of off of a greenhouse, and they would put their food in there, and then they would source food from all over the UK and wherever else and bring it into their stores. Now, a true farm shop has to be very local, but these bigger kind of stores don't quite have those rules and regulations. Now, this was really exciting for us. We can go and buy food from down the road. That's what we want. I see the cow, I see the sheep, I want it on my plate. It was there, now it's here. They're growing vegetables, that's fantastic. I want that. Let's put that on my plate right here. That is how food should be. And we're quite excited by it. This is much easier to source local food. It's not so big. It's not all of this, hard to find fresh stuff. Now, it's good, don't get me wrong, but having harvested our own animals on our own farm, we know that when you take an animal, you slaughter it, it can sit 20 days, slice it up, stick it in your fridge. If you still haven't eaten it, you move it to your freezer. Now that is a good 2 month wait in cold storage, right? Now you go to the grocery store, you pick up some steak or you pick up something, you've got a week to maybe eat it if you're lucky, and it might even be going off before then. You go to your butcher, and some are really good, but I have bought stuff from butchers here and it goes off before I can eat it. And it's only been in my fridge for 3 days. And then I look at it and the date's only 3 days. I'm like, from a butcher shop, that shelf life should be longer. Now I get it for safety and all that kind of crap, you know. But the problem is these animals still go through this more industrial slaughter process, which is fine. But if it's going through with a lot of the commercial, you end up it's dirtier, right? Things get missed, machines go in, it get blood goes everywhere, that kind of thing. It gets messy. Um, and it's not as clean as doing one chicken at a time on your own table for your own backyard, right? When I ask where they source it from, they'll say, yes, it's British beef or British cattle. It was grass fed, it was here. But it was from a farm 30 miles down the road. I went into London to the where everybody goes to the market to buy their stuff, like all the restaurants, that kind of thing would go, and they buy it there. They bring it up to their butcher shop, chop it up, put it in the thing. Now, there's a lot of middle people. It's not from the farmer to the butcher in your grocery cart. It's from the farmer to the slaughterhouse, redistributed, gone to the butcher, and then maybe the butcher got it straight from the slaughterhouse if they were close by, I guess. And then they're packaging up and then giving them to you. There's still so many middle people. And there's a lot of travel hours on that meat that doesn't need to be there. So we started kind of questioning, like, okay, well, where can I buy this? And we found a few good local farms where we can buy from. But again, it is expensive. Food is. You got to put that priority into it. It's not cheap to even eat junk food these days. It's also expensive to eat real food. And there's this store here that if you're on benefits, or if you are having, you're like one of the first responders, that kind of thing, you can go there and shop for your food. And this is kind of secondary. So if there's something wrong with the box labeling, um, they've overstocked it, they want to move it out, it goes to them. So the shelf life on it isn't always great, but sometimes it really is, because it might come from the restaurant kind of industry. Anyway, it's all kind of odds and ends. Every week it's something different. Might be the same stuff for a week. Like it really depends what's in there. But they do veg and yogurts and meats and goods of all kinds of things. You get stuff from Marks and Spencers. You get stuff from Tesco. You get stuff from Aldi. You get stuff from all the food chains, even kind of private ones. You get the restaurant quality meat chunks and packets and things like for Craig's, that kind of stuff. So you get a lot of that in there, and the prices are really cheap. Now what gets me irked is the freshness might actually be longer. Anyway, I know I can go in there and get something for say £2 for a whole chicken, and then I go to Tesco and buy the same one, and it's £4 or £6. Now that's a lot of markup, because they have sold it to the company for probably under £2. They've put their own markup on it a little bit so that they actually make some money when they sell it to us at the cheaper rate. They don't want it because the label's wrong and that kind of thing. They have to throw it away anyway because it doesn't work. Um, the weight's not right or something like that. Whereas this company just slaps, weight is wrong. Here you go. Don't worry about it. Might even be nothing of that big of a deal. They just missed. It's a typo or something like that. Where they could have reduced it in their own store, but they don't. They send it away. Great for stopping food waste, yay. But there's that markup. The farmer is getting pennies on that chicken, which is then going to the distributor, which is then saying, hey, who wants this? They're then putting Tesco labels on it, Aldi labels on it, all that. Like everybody's chickens come from the same thing. They are paying that distributor that. So say that chicken costs 150p is what the um, farmer gets. The distributor gets 50p as well, so that's now a pound chicken. They then go to the stores. The stores put it up to whatever they want. Now it will range from anywhere from £3 to £6 to £8 for that same chicken because of the different label, whether it comes from Aldi or Lidl or it comes from M&S. So that label is different. Now some of them obviously source from different farms, but a lot of the same stuff is just repackaged. Same as cornflakes, whether it's a no-name brand or it's a brand name like Kellogg's, it's the same product just with a different package on it because Kellogg's owns all of those. So the issue is they put it up. Now it doesn't sell, whatever the reason is, it goes back to the thing. They drop it down to maybe they ask for the money back that they paid for it, which was the £2. They go and they add another 50p on there. Now it costs me £2.50. But I know if I go into the store, it's going to cost me £6. Who's making the money? It's the grocery store. And it's not right. It puts the prices up, and food keeps getting inflated because inputs are higher and this kind of thing. And inflation is something that just really irks me because it's a man-made thing. Inflation of pricing is just because Bob down here decided I'm charging £3 now, and it's trickled all the way up. And the problem is people just keep adding and adding and adding to it. And when it comes to something like food, I know I'm rambling. Please bear with me. When it comes to something like food, it frustrates me because it's a necessity, and everybody should be able to eat food. Everybody should have access to food. We talk so much about feeding the world, and it's not the problem. The problem is feeding your neighbor and yourself and your community and working in that bubble. Don't worry about the world. You're not in the world. Okay? Worry about this. Once you have solved your food problems at home in your own space, then look at solving the world's food problem. I'm sorry. It's just I don't care if you agree with me or not on that. But you can't do it any other way. And unless you're food secure, what is the point of importing and everything else when you rely so heavily on somebody else to feed you? Anyway, my point is basically we realize the system is a little bit broken. We're selling land that could be used for farming to put trees back on, which we would get better carbon sequestration. Why do I keep using the word I can't say? By doing regenerative farming and adding multiple species onto that land instead. And why are we putting solar panels on land when they could be on top of concrete? And why are we putting wind turbines and everything else like that? Why is the UK not using hydroelectricity? We're an island surrounded by water. We should be able to use the tide for something. And why is it that we're looking to reduce our food and import from other countries and making it cheaper in that regard? It's not better for us. It's worse for the environment. It's not healthier. Um, and all these kinds of things. So this is where we were born with our idea, which was essentially, let's fix it from our neighborhood and move on from there. So we're starting with microgreens. Though it's not the most eco-friendly way to grow food, it's a way that we can grow food quickly and start entering into the market here locally. It's also something we can grow all year round and have available. And we're going to be starting small, with basically the same amount of shelving that we had in Canada. You can go back and watch our videos on those. But we'll do some future videos on setting that up once all that product gets here so we can start setting it up. Um, and we're going to be selling that locally. And then from there, we're going to be adding in fresh veg from our garden, which will probably be next year, maybe a late harvest will be available, as we still have to build the garden here and we still have to plant stuff. So it's going to take time, unlike microgreens that take a week to grow. A full plant takes months. So the goal is to do that while also sharing how to grow your own food, how to start to eat more locally, how to eat more sustainably, how to eat more nose to tail whole food, cook from home kind of narrative that we have. And from there, we aim to keep growing. So we're going to start with the microgreens, start growing our own food, sharing that knowledge, and encouraging people to grow their own food as well, and perhaps even set up their gardens for them and get that all input. Then our next step, which is going to be launching next year, is our patchwork farms, which we can't go out and buy 10 acres, 20 acres, 50 acres here. It costs £1 million easy. Especially where we live right now, we're in is an expensive area, and you're not going to buy land for anything less than probably 10,000 an acre. I don't have that kind of cash. Um, and well, you got to work with what you got. So our goal is to get people to grow their own food, which is great. Our goal is to make them grow their own food. If they grow their own food and they have extra, they can share it with us and go into this hub that we are creating. But we also are going to grow some food in our own backyard, and we're going to ask for volunteers to grow that with in their backyard. So maybe it's an elderly person that would love to have a garden, but they can't tend to it all the time. We can go in there, they get a share of the vegetables and the harvest each week, from us and all the farms that we have. We use a bunch of different gardens in the area to grow our crops. We're still fine tuning what crops will grow in each kind of bubble that we will have. Each week we go through, we harvest them, we care for them, and then we bring it to a community hub, which will likely be a community center locally, where we will then distribute boxes of either CSAs, or they can come and choose what they want. Those that are growing their own food that maybe have an abundance, we have a lot of houses around here with apples and that kind of thing, they might want to share their abundance. This would be free produce, either given as they check out through us or have been asked, or will just be put into a community free hub table for people to take what they need. We do want to make it fair that those that have a lower income and can't afford as much maybe get more of that free stuff. It's still a work in process, and we will tailor that as we kind of get that feedback from the community. So that's our goal. Down the road, um, we do want to have a bigger place where we can run a full market garden in one space and even have our own animals and that kind of thing. But this is something that we aim to build towards down the road. In the meantime, we are going to be relying a lot on what people offer us. Now, this whole system works to be bringing food to the neighborhood and the local community. And through that, we also aim to bring meat in. Now, if you're in Canada or you're in a place where you can put big freezers, you do know that you can go to a cattle farmer and say, I would like to buy a whole cow. And he'll say, great, that's £8 a pound. And you just pay kind of a flat rate for per pound and you get a mix of all the cuts. And it saves you a lot of money than if you were to go out and buy all those cuts yourself. And you put it in your freezer. Now that's all very well, but in the UK here we don't have that freezer space. So we want to maybe put in this kind of freezer system where we can benefit from that. We're going to be calculating how many people it can kind of feed. We're going to order those whole cows and we're going to share that cost back at that, say, £8 a pound type of thing, whatever the rate is around here, um, per pound of beef, so that people get things for cheaper. They get more nutritious food. They're eating from a single animal that week, and they get that kind of food variety. That's kind of our overall goal, is to educate, to teach others to do it, to replicate these systems in other towns where then if one town is struggling, all the neighboring ones can offer, and we're going to have like this little hub of um, sharing across the other hubs so we can have a like little community and say, hey, we're really low on carrots, or we have an abundance of apples. Who needs apples? Maybe there's a place that just doesn't have room for apple trees, so we can share that abundance. Same with nuts and things like that. And even meats. Maybe one space is more okay for sheep and they can't have cattle because whatever the reason is, and we have cattle and no sheep. So you can share and expand in that kind of network, which is what the food system should be. Anyway, that's kind of a rough overview, ramble overview of what we are building towards. And basically, it's to help every village, every town, and every community grow more of its own food. That's our goal. And bringing neighbors together to harvest and share and support each other. We want to bring back community. It is so lost. And without the community, we see a lot more depression, and we want to bring back community meals and gatherings and all these things that really bring our British culture back to what we used to be, in the sense of community and togetherness, and creating those small local food hubs where we have seasonal veg, eggs, flowers, handmade goods, and everything which are sold affordably. And hopefully, as we grow, we can bring back more savings into the people and keeps the money within the community as well. Our goal isn't to become massive. Our goal is to become replicable and to teach others how to do it. It's educational, and that's where our YouTube comes in. So if you can build a food hub in one village, we can then help others do it in theirs, and that's why we're going to be documenting the journey here, the good, the bad, the messy, everything in between. We're going to start doing more vlog style like we had before, showing you kind of what we're up to, what's going on, and all the kind of different aspects of that as we start growing. Um, you'll see kind of the behind the scenes of our growing setup, how we manage our gardens, and how we manage all the different land spaces as we move into that patchwork farm, and how we organize like our boxes and choose what to grow or whatever, and how we bring others into the movement essentially. So hopefully while you're watching, you'll will inspire you to maybe grow something where you are too, and maybe even start your own little hub. Anyway, if you are curious to learn a bit more in a non-rambly way, do head over to our website where we kind of explain it a bit better. Um, But otherwise, keep tuning in and we'll chat to you soon.